Okay, I'm going to start with two. I've been going through things from old things, pulling them out, and there's two that have particular relevance now that you'll hear about them at the end. When Chicky comes marching home again, and this was based on an essay. When Chicky comes marching home again, the Marine Private John Charles Dunny was home from Paris Island, and the crowd was where we belonged at that stage of our lives, in the Broadstone. But there was sadness along with the joy because Private Dunny was now going to Okinawa. Okinawa, Okinawa. But like McGoth, the chick rose up on a stool and roared, "I shall return," and took off a dog tag and a chain and handed it to Inwood's best bartender, Pat Gallagher. Anyway, Pat takes the chain and fastens the dog tag to the big gold chain holding a large clock over the bar, and there it will stay until Chicky comes marching home again. Often over the 18 months, someone will point to the chain and offer a toast to Chicky defending us in Okinawa. And then it happens, like MacArthur or John Wayne, Chick is delivered back to us and it's off to the stone. Pat buys a few rounds for the bar, Chick reclaims his dog tag, the beer flows, and there is much singing and good cheer. After many hours, I take my leave. There's been a joyous occasion. The dog tag has been reclaimed and Chicky has come marching home. It's a pity I didn't stay a bit longer to see our hero get in a fight by the pinball machine, hit the other miscreant over the head with the iron puck, and get barred from the joint. Anyway, the legend began to grow. Then now Chick, the high school dropout, is usually the only one in the room with a master's from Harvard. That takes us to our later adventure when he was a merchant marine. November 1967. The story begins in Doc Fiddler's. The anti-war protests were heating up, and some of my old neighborhood weren't having any of it. A super patriot bartender, a bit crazy, was one of the most upset. The guys we have over there will think we don't support them. So he seized our plan. Someone's got to go over them and buy them a beer. What, go over there? He had it all worked out. He was going to borrow Merchant Seamen's papers from a good friend of mine and go himself. The friend, John Chick Dunny, who only a little less crazy at the time, knew he couldn't give up his papers, so he said, "I'll go." And go he did with the list of locals serving and a lot of beer on an ammo ship, the SS Drake. On July 19th, 1968, the Drake anchored in Quanai, and Chick was off on his adventure. And 40 years later, it became a book. The book, the story of him hitching through a war zone in a Madras shirt that made officers think he was CIA. The story of him conning officers that he was looking for his stepbrother to tell them that their mother had died. The story of him finding one local as soon as he got off the ship and thinking it would be easy for the rest. The story of him finding another in an ammo base and actually being picked up in the Jeep by another when he was hitching. The story gets more serious when he reached a fourth on the front lines who was issued a weapon when the enemy was sighted. The story got even more serious when he missed his ship departure and went off to Saigon to look for another and got caught in the Tet Offensive. He eventually found another ship, which took him to Seattle and the plane back to Inwood and a cab back to Doc Fiddler's. Since then, he has owned a bar, worked for years at the Santor, got an MBA from Harvard without having the college degree. Hopefully, I have whet your appetite. The name of the book is The Greatest Beer Run Ever, and it is a movie that will that's opening at the Toronto Film Festival the first week in September, and it'll be opening in the United States at the end of September. And the crazed bartender is being played by Bill Murray in the. So it should be interesting. I'm going to stay on stuff that's some old friends and some people who aren't with us anymore. These are journeys. Mike was my best friend for a very long time. We had mutual interests, books, radio, sports, and a shared taste for beer. We talked constantly in the park, at the bar, on the phone, probably for a total of many months' time over the years. Knowing nothing about computers when graduating from college and having no interest in knowing, we both spent all of our working lives working with them. We worked together for two firms. And good turns and bad turns did not destroy our friendship. He had red hair, a quick smile, a terrific Irish tenor voice, would sing Danny Boy both at any request and at every wedding of my friend and mine. I was his best man and gave the toast at his wedding and the eulogy at his funeral. Another victim of Joe Camel. And staying just with death for a moment or two, I have three friends, Warren, Rob, and Gloria. Warren and Rob went through 6 months of the Army, including what seemed like 3 years in Oklahoma. Warren worked with me at two brokerage firms and referred to Rob as his best friend when moved at Rob's sudden death. Gloria was a friend before she ever knew Rob. She was a great dancer and would light up a room with her smile and redhead exuberance. Gloria went first. She fought Joe Camel to the end and told me once that this little girl won't go easily. In the end, he did win, but not without a fight. Rob went next, falling over in the street with an unknown heart failure, surprising us all. Warren even surprised us more, telling a mutual friend of the afternoon that no matter what the odds were, he would fight death until the end and dying at the dinner table that night. They were good friends and taught us that no matter how you go, you go. And staying with journeys, one from one of my oldest books that talks about my own journey. And it's called If You Told Me, and this was written, by the way, in 2009. If you told me 45 years ago, June 3rd, 1964, when I was working on Wall Street and getting ready to move to the Tony Rudo section of New York City, that today I'd be recovering from a minor motorcycle accident. I didn't ride them, I never planned to sustain riding from my 225-year-old barn home. I was a lifetime apartment dweller and planned to remain as such. In a place I'd never heard of, Jefferson Valley, New York, to a college that didn't exist as such, Monroe College. I've been teaching there. And I've been married for 30 years to a woman I had never met. And I'd be a poet. A poet. I would have said you're crazy. Now I wonder if it's me. Thank you for putting up with me.